Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about a federal judge basically shutting down one of these new state-owned and constructed detention centers that are being used by the federal government. And it's all part of this biggest in history operation by ICE to deport untold numbers of supposed illegal aliens. This is a facility in Florida that has been operating under state control, but with federal reimbursement, and is, by all accounts, a hellhole like none other. So Florida comes in, and it appears, it's a little hard to say. I don't think they're just trying to, support the immigration effort. I think they see a good way to make money by taking a little used airstrip in the Everglades Wetlands Preserve. Trump actually toured it with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Remember him when it opened last month? And making it into a detention facility for people who are scheduled to be deported or have to be there until they have their hearings. It is, by all accounts, just a torture pit. There, it has extreme heat, all kinds of insects, basically no food, substandard, if at best, toilet facilities. It is just complete uncivilized, nasty place. And indeed, the lawsuit that succeeded here was an environmental lawsuit. So what groups have basically said, this is in the Everglades Preserve, and there are rules that govern the development of certain wetlands and have to comply with certain environmental reviews. Those are federal environmental laws. And the gambit here that failed by the federal government was to say, and it's a very cynical gambit, is to say, hey, the state's doing this, federal environmental laws don't apply. And the gist of the 82-page or so opinion by the federal judge in the Southern District of Florida, Kathleen Williams, is that's right. You've got to do an environmental review. You don't get out of it, feds, by essentially subcontracting. I mean, it's a federal facility that the states are building and being reimbursed for, but federal environmental laws apply. So the judge applies federal environmental laws, and based on that, she says, you've got to remove fencing, you've got to remove lighting, sewage facilities, you've got to remove, you can't do new constructions, and you can't accept new detainees. And if that order holds, it basically means the end of the Alligator Alcatraz detention center, a name that Trump likes to have. It pleases him. He's made a kind of cute little statement saying, that's not a place I want to go hiking any day soon. It might be as good as the real Alcatraz, meaning a hellhole that detainees couldn't escape from. Anyway, the orders by Williams, if they hold, and they'll go up on appeal, of course, as the Trump administration always does in probably emergency fashion, will mean that this center basically has to close down. They can't possibly comply with all the environmental stuff. And as of now, the buildings and structures that are unaffected by the order, and there are a few, and they say, well, this one's okay, that one's okay, are not enough to actually serve as a full-fledged immigration detention center. Now, this is the first that has come up for judicial review, and it's an unusual form of judicial review, right? It's to say you haven't complied with environmental laws. Don't know if something like that can be made for the other state-operated centers that have been come into existence in recent months. Actually, Florida is looking itself to do a second facility in the north. Indiana and Nebraska, same deal. They want to, jump in. They have places that are well suited, or so they think, to put up these detention centers. The federal government's going to reimburse them for it, and that's they like this deal. So it's an eyesore and environmental disaster, but more generally, this movement to try to induce states to build immigration centers in order to really be able to expand this entire operation. Remember, the Big Beautiful Bill makes ICE the largest law enforcement agency, federal law enforcement agency in the country, with billions of dollars for new agents and the like, also to build these new centers. But it shows what a sort of cynical effort it is. They actually want to say, have taken the position here, and who knows what they'll do in future challenges to other state-built facilities that, it's federal law doesn't apply. It's a little bit like farming out prisons to private people and then saying, and this would be counter to the law, well, the Eighth Amendment or other things actually don't apply here. But the basic notion of wanting to eat their cake and have it too, wanting to have states build for them, but then being able to say, well, you don't have to deal with federal environmental laws or others because it's the state after all, is not flying, at least in this first decision by the Florida District Court judge. We'll see what happens on appeal, and we'll see in particular the fate of this Aligator Alcatraz, as it's called, which is a problem not just for the basic reasons I've just noted, but because it itself is like, a torture pit, and so designed. The complaint sets out really harrowing, just revolting subhuman conditions of insects and sewage and heat and the like, really just designed to torture, something that apparently delights Donald Trump, and as is shown by his affection for this prison. So that's the deal here. It's as I say, an unusual basis for striking it down. And so it doesn't tell us a lot about what's going to happen in these other state facilities that are, or I should really say federal facilities that states are building on the federal dime. But that's going to be part of this unprecedentedly large and expansive effort to build a national machine to deport people without valid immigration status, as the department charges anyway. And that's going to give rise potentially to a whole shadow detention system in various states, which itself can be legally consequential for any number of reasons. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.